Hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this episode, or maybe for tuning in to this episode called 5S Methodology. First of all, my name is Jackson Kapilya. I'm a self-health environment quality advisor for Lubamba Papa Mines. Today we'll be discussing on 5S methodology. I'll try by all means to be quick, fast, so that we can do this video with. So without wasting much of the time, 5S is no different from good housekeeping. So 5S is often symbolized by the philosophy as a place for everything and everything in its place. 5S originated in Japan. It was mostly used in the automobile industry in Japan. So after that, throughout the years, it has spread out in different countries and around the world, and most organizations use it for their. They use it in the organization to ensure that they increase productivity and reduce accidents in the organization. So, what does 5S mean? 5S, as you can see, is 5 S's which have been summarized as follows. The first S means sort. So what does sort mean in the 5S? It means eliminating what is not needed. And then the second one is a set. What does set mean? Set means organizing what remains after sorting out. And then we go to the third S, which is shine. So what does shine mean? Shine means to clean and inspect the area. And then we go to the fourth S, which means standardize. What does standardize mean? Standardize means writing the standards for the 5S, as in standardizing, following the things that you have already implemented. And then we are going to go to the fifth S, which means sustain. So what does sustain mean? Sustain means consistently applying the 5S in the organization to ensure that there's continuous improvement every day as you are applying the 5S in the industry. So as we can see, at the core of 5S activities, views the discipline needed for substantial and continuous improvement by creating a sustainable and efficiency workplace where people can work properly. So I'm going to talk about the importance of 5S, why 5S is supposed to be implemented in the workplace. What is it going to do to the people? How is it going to help the organization? So first of all, 5S benefits the people. It also benefits the organization. So the first benefit, it creates the space within the facility by removing unnecessary tools and equipment. The second one is it reduces waste from unnecessary motion by organizing the workspace. It reduces downtime and improving quality by consistently maintaining the equipment. It also creates a safe work environment by ensuring that it's clean and well maintained. Apart from that, it increases productivity, it reduces costs, it also increases the morale of employees in the workplace. So we are going to start with the first letter S, sort. How do we implement sort? And let me just explain a little bit in details what sort means. The sort step separates the items in your workplace that you need from those that you do not need and may not be needed by moving them away. So, how do you implement the sort step? The first thing is you itemize the needed workplace. The second thing is you itemize needed in another work area. You ensure that the essential items they are put in the workplace that you supposed to put them. The second step is you itemize the things that you may need. For example, items you are unsure about, use the 5S. There's what we call ledge tag, a ledge tag system that the things that you need them, you put them in the workplace where they're supposed to be. And those things that you don't need them, you put them away where they're not supposed to be. And then you also itemize items you do not need. So how do you do this? There are certain items you're 100% confident that they are not needed. They should be immediately discarded, meaning they are not supposed to be put in the workplace. They are supposed to be put away, far away from the area that you are working from. That's all about the sort, first step. Now the second step is, first, before I go to second step, I want to give examples of sort. So what are the examples of sort? One, removal of waste item. It's one example of sort. Discard broken or odd parts. It's part of sort. Responsibly recycling materials or papers is part of sort. Separate everyday tools from special case tools. It's part of sort. Creating an overflow area outside of a workplace for duplicate material is also part of sort. So let me move to the second step, which is set. So a set step thoroughly organizes the items that remain after sorting, such that frequent use items are easy to access. So how do you implement the set step in the 5S methodology? So one, you need to ensure that you provide easy access to frequent used items. The key here is to reduce waste from excessive motion and to place frequent used items within the easiest reach. The second one is to itemize the items in groups. So the remaining items into logical categories. The best way is to organize and store each of these categories where you are supposed to install them. The second step, how you can implement the set step, is to ensure that sometimes you may use the containers. It is very much appropriate for the items to be itemized. You should consider organizing it within the container so they can be easily accessible and easily reachable. So, what are the examples of set? Number one, you give every item a distinctive home. By giving every item, for everything that you're supposed to use, you give them where they're supposed to be. For the second example I can give on set is use colors as a way of organizing and creating meaning. So how do you ensure that you can color code items like, the red item they're supposed to be here, the blue items are supposed to be here. That way it will be easier for you to ensure that this item they don't belong here and this item they don't belong here. And then what the other example I can give, the other one is to dedicate a surface or area entirely to shadow boxes and the tool storage. You are supposed to dedicate certain areas to show that this area is for these items and this area is for this item. So we are actually done on set. So we are going on the third item in the 5S philosophy, which is shine. So what does shine mean? Shiny, in a shiny step, you elevate the work area by thoroughly cleaning and inspecting tools, equipment, and other items. It can also include routine maintenance on equipment, which is one of the ways it flows directly. So how do you implement the so-called shine? But first of all, on a shining, when you shine, you create a work environment that engages and empowers operators by giving them more responsibilities. But how do you implement the same so-called shine standard? The first thing is you grab I'm going to give a very good example. When the area is dirty, when you shine, you clean it using appropriate cleaners and cleaning tools. Make the area span. With every sweep, mop, brush, wipe, and wash, you ensure that the work area looks more formal, glory, and clean. The next thing you can do in implementation of a shine a standard, you ensure that you find the source guiding the principle of this is to understand the clean standard thing by ensuring that you put the signage, all the signage such as the leak, spill signage, and anything that might cause a dirty in that area. And apart from that, you inspect each area after cleaning to ensure that everything is working accordingly. So what are some of the examples of shine? Is wipe down equipment, examine the wear of your tools, investigate the recording of unclean spot or mess in the workplace. So this is all about the shine standard. So we go to the fourth one, which is standardize. So what does the word standardize mean? Standardize step, it is a bridge between the first three steps: sort, set, and shine. The last step is sustain. In this step, your goal is to capture the best practice for 5S and the standard work for your team. So how do you go about this? How do you implement the standardized step in the 5S? The first thing is you document in pairs. Have one team member walk through each task as another document to ensure nothing important is missed. The second step, excuse me, sorry about that. The second step is capture the instance. We are a huge component of simplicity. So when you actually capture the instance of each task and no more, otherwise your document will be very likely not be maintained. So it is very important to ensure that you have a checklist to ensure that as you are going through, you are thinking of the things that you have already implemented. A short checklist is much easier. You don't need to have a big checklist. The next implementation you can do in the standardizing step is to organize. When you organize your checklist by shift and by frequency, you ensure that the checklist is done every day. For the people coming in the morning, for the afternoon shift, even for the evening shift, ensure that the checklist is done to ensure that the checklist is there to check against the standards you've put in place. So let's go to the last part. Sustain. What does it mean to sustain? This is the last step. So sustain step ensures that the 5S is applied on an ongoing basis. It transforms your standardized 5S process into regular complete task. So how do we implement the last step in 5S, which is sustain? How do we implement it? One thing is you need to create a schedule. Embed the 5S practice as a scheduled task by row, shift, and frequency. You need to teach through demonstration. Instruct employees on how to conduct 5S tasks through demonstration and training. Show employees what is expected of them. The last thing you need to do is to supervise. After initial 5S training for employees, gently supervise where they continue to form habit. It is easier to make mistakes or fall off the wagon. The last thing that we are able to do, like what are some of the examples that we can give in relation to sustaining the work environment in relation to 5S. One, you need to hold a demonstration meeting to explain complex and multitask process. Perform a periodic check. Teach employees to run 5S audits. Respond to mistakes and additional training. Encourage supervisors and operators to communicate openly and construct to find ways to improve. this is one way you can do the 5 step, which is sustain in the 5S philosophy. Thank you so much, and see you next time. For more questions about 5S, you can reach out to the same page, and then we can find ways on how we can help you with 5S. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.